Hey, what's up, Grinduroers? Stu from SRAM here. I hope you're as excited as I am about riding the next Grinduro event in North Wales in the UK in a few weeks' time. Now, I was lucky enough to get up there and get a course preview recently, so I thought I would put this small video together just to share some of my insights on the course and offer up some bike setup tips to make sure that you get the best out of your experience come race day. So, of course, we're in North Wales. That means we're assured of three things. One, big hills. There's going to be plenty of climbing and plenty of descending. Two, rocks, both the ones that you can see and those nasty little buggers that you can't, that lie hidden in the grass just waiting to catch us out. And then three is sheep shit. That will be in abundance as well. Not a lot we can do about the last one, but certainly we can really look at our bike setup to help with the first two things. Let's start with tyres. I would say leave those super skinny, lightweight gravel tyres like the 35, 37 mil tyres away for this event. What we're looking at, I think, as an optimal is 40 to 42 mil, and think about durability. As I said, the terrain in North Wales is rugged, so durability of the tyre is going to be important. So the lightest carcasses are probably not the best choices for this event. Think of something with a bit of tread as well, not like a full mud tread, more like an all-round performing tyre. Something, as a good example, I think the WTB Radler or the Riddler, those two tyres from WTB are good examples where you have kind of a low profile tread for the majority of the portion of the tread, but with a bit more of an aggressive kind of edge lug, which is great when you want to just that bit of extra confidence leaning into turns and what have you, especially if it's a loose surface or if it's a bit damp and slippy or muddy, which in North Wales it could well be. So yes, think about your tyres, that's going to be key. Tubeless obviously as well. Hopefully by now I'm preaching to the converted a bit with that, but yeah, the ability to run much lower pressures for comfort, for extra grip, but without the added risk of pinch flats. Okay, gearing, that's going to be the next super important thing to consider. Focus on the lower end of your gear ratios more than anything. I think, yeah, there's a lot of big climbs to get over. I use this bike that's actually here behind me for my Recon ride, which has a 42 tooth chainring, paired with our SRAM Explore 10 to 44 tooth rear cassette. So it's quite a wide ranging cassette, and that gives me less than a 1-to-1 ratio in my bottom gear. That still probably wasn't enough in places, if I'm honest. I will, before the event, drop my chainring size down to probably a 40 tooth or maybe even a 38 tooth chainring. So that's kind of, I think, what you need to be thinking along the lines of for Grinduro Wales. Something that's going to offer definitely less than a 1-to-1 ratio in your bottom gear. Something like a 38 tooth chainring paired with a wide ranging cassette, depending on which group set manufacturer you're running, or the mullet setup. If you don't know what that is, mullet setup basically is where you run a mountain bike cassette and rear derailleur on the back, and then yeah, your usual gravel chainring on the front. So that will drop your gear ratios even more, giving you a really low gear. So that's good if you feel like you're already going to maybe struggle on some of the steeper climbs. So focus on your gears, focus on your tyres. Also focus on your spares. So the onus is on us as riders to be as self-sufficient as possible while we're out on the course. Obviously we can't factor in everything, but one thing I would say is I see a lot of riders at events carrying way too much stuff. And I think Grinduro ultimately, it's not a bike packing event, it's a race. So we want to be as minimalist as possible, think about not carrying loads of extra weight up those climbs. So as you can see, this bike pretty much is as I will ride it in terms of what's on it. A small top tube bag, and then I run a couple of little additional gadgets to hold some of my spares. So you're going to need at the very least to have some tools. I use this little compact tool wrap. It's just got some Allen keys, torque key, in there. I've got some spare quick links for my chain and a chain tool, obviously, because even with the quick links you still need to have a chain tool to get the link back to the point where you can use the quick link. And I've got a tyre plug in there. So tubeless tyre users, these things are godsend. If you haven't already found them, do hunt out some tyre plugs. There's different designs on the market. I particularly like this one from Dynaplug because it's got two different size plugs built into this little canister. So depending on the size of the hole, but yeah, you literally just plug that through the hole where you can see the sealant leaking, and then withdraw the tool, and that leaves a rubber bung in the hole. Job done in most cases. You can even put multiple plugs into the same hole if it's a really big puncher. So yeah, they're a godsend. And then of course, re-inflating your tyre as well. If you want to do it in the quickest fashion, then air canisters are great. Yeah, I always carry a couple of these with me. If you run out of canisters, or if you don't want to use canisters, obviously a hand pump is great to have as a backup. Notice on my pump I also wrap gaffer tape around the handle. That's super handy. Gaffer tape comes in handy for so many things, we all know that. So yeah, if you needed it to make an on-trail repair somehow, or yeah, even to fix a hole in a sidewall from the inside, something, it's always handy to have anyway. So that's a good tip. Carrying tubes. Yeah, we still need to carry a tube, even if we're on tubeless. There might be that scenario where everything else has failed and your last ditch attempt basically is to pop a tube in, and that generally will get you home in most cases. If you really want to dot the I's and cross the T's, then carrying a small bottle of sealant is not bad. I often do this on events where you have to travel a long way from the kind of event centre. That's not the case in Grinduro Wales because of the kind of figure-of-8 nature of the course. We always come back in the middle, but yeah, even so, it's not that big or heavy to carry, and it just means that, you know, if you've dumped all your sealant out on the trail, you can actually top up, and then once you've repaired it and got yourself back on the road, you've still got the benefits of having sealant in your tyre for the remainder of the ride. Finally then, cut a little section of old tyre. This is off an old road tyre that I've just cut the beads off. That is brilliant to have in your seat bag or pack wherever you're carrying it, just because if you do have a hole in the sidewall and you need to patch it from the inside or kind of put in a tyre boot, then yeah, looking around for crisp packets in the hedgerow or using a gel wrapper or something, yeah, it can be done, but this is just a guaranteed way of making a solid repair, and it takes up no space in the bag to have a section of old tyre. So that's another good tip from me. That's pretty much it, other than to say, all riders this year get one of these. So this is a really cool custom Grinduro handlebar bag from SRAM. So do make sure after you've signed on to pop over to the SRAM booth and pick yours up. Hopefully you found that useful, and yeah, I look forward to riding with you all in a couple of weeks' time.